Hi, folks. Thanks to all of you who are attending, and as always, those who have signed up but are unable to attend. The recording will be sent to you over the next couple of days. A little bit of information on myself. I'm Danny Allman, and owner of AlmonTravel. We've been in business since 2003, 2 years from before I retired from teaching. We have a number of specialties. We can do FITs, which is individual bookings, of course, but also would like to promote special groups that will allow you to travel with family, friends, and others within the organization that are like-minded regarding travel. Destination weddings, we've done 130 of those in the Caribbean area, and where that translates nicely into groups is if you have extended family vacations or anniversaries or sort of thing. We also focus on Florida trips, again, extended family to the theme parks, Caribbean adult only or family vacations, as well as river cruises. We've done 10 different itineraries around the world, including Asia, Egypt, Europe, and even down in the States on the Mississippi. Also do ocean cruises. We've done the most popular itineraries, so we're able to speak with experience about that. Travel conditions. Well, folks, we know what's happening all around the world, but especially in Nova Scotia. And the Canadian travel advisories, which seem to change almost daily, make it rather difficult for us to do any thinking about traveling at this time. But the purpose of this series of travel presentations is to allow you to learn more about different destinations. Don't just think about fun in the sun with an umbrella drink, but perhaps educate yourselves by going to Italy, for example. The vaccine, I think that's on the market right now, we are experiencing little blips with that in terms of delivery. But in Nova Scotia, anyway, they're saying that 75% of Nova Scotians should be vaccinated by September, which means very likely everybody, certainly by the end of the year. And that allows us actually to think a little more about planning for something that might be a year down the road. And that's what these presentations are set up to do. I ask your help in spreading news about these presentations and the recordings to your family and friends. Note that we at AlmonTravel are working on several presentations that will focus on solo travel with options either waived single supplements or opportunities perhaps to match up with another like-minded traveler. CARP's plan for travel, when we originally signed on to become CARP's exclusive travel agency, that was back in late 2019. We started working on some presentations that we were going to do live. Unfortunately, COVID hit and all of those had to be shelved. So I worked out a plan to contact various tour operators to try to present travel virtually. And we've been successful in doing that. We're working on the 17th presentation today, and we have presentations up until March the 30th. If you have any suggestions for topics, I would certainly be very happy to hear about them and do my best to try to contact those people who might be able to help us put those on. My connection with CARP, Bill Van Gorder is the COO and Chief Policy Officer for CARP National, as well as the founding chair for CARP Nova Scotia, as well as being the senior spokesman for CARP in the Maritimes. Bill is a client of mine, and I've worked with him on fundraising over the last 3 or 4 years, so we have a very good connection. And I was very pleased when he asked me if we would be the travel agency exclusively for Nova Scotia. I'd like to take a few moments right now just to introduce Brad Ford, President of Inside Vacations Canada, Shona Finnie, who is actually on from Scotland right now, 4 hours in advance of us, and she is considered to be one of the highly valued travel directors and has experienced this particular itinerary extensively. And also mentioned Julia Wong, who's working in the background, making sure that everything works properly for us. The picture that you see on the screen right now is a collage of pictures that I actually took while I was in Italy. And the top left is a Lake Maggiore, I believe was either there or Lake Como. The picture below that, what is it, Como?
No, Maggiore, you're right.
Oh, Maggiore, yeah. And you know, some of the many old towns and ruins that we experienced just below that. Of course, the picture in the middle, iconic gondolas in Venice, and the same with the bottom right. And then my picture taken with the Last Supper, certainly one of the highlights of my trip. So I'd like to ask Brad and Shona to take over in talking about country roads of northern Italy. Please go ahead, folks.
Thanks so much, Danny, for the introduction, and hello to everyone in Nova Scotia and all CARP members who've joined us for this evening of AlmonTravel Presents Discovery of the Country Roads of Northern Italy with Insight Vacations. We're proud partners with AlmonTravel, and we're pleased to support Danny and his wife, Debbie, to offer the very best service, commitment to your well-being and confidence, and provision of expertly prepared and delivered premium small group journeys that create memories to last a lifetime. My name is Brad Ford, as Danny has said, and I have the pleasure of leading Insight Vacations here in Canada. And as he's also said, we're joined today by one of our most outstanding travel directors, Shona Finnie. Shona is an award winner, and she's going to take us through an inspiring look at some of the experiences that make travel through Italy just so enjoyable. Our intention is to give you some inspiration to think about traveling with AlmonTravel and Insight Vacations when the timing is right. But really, let's stoke the fires of those dreams through our presentation today. I'll touch on some facts and understanding of who Insight Vacations are and our premium offerings. So things that make us a little more special and unique in class, we'll say. And then Shona will follow with an inspiring and what will be most certainly an entertaining wander through Italy, and what you can expect when you can choose AlmonTravel and Insight Vacations to bring you to Italy's country roads of northern Italy in comfort and style. And finally, we'll turn the presentation back to Danny and close out our presentation with a virtual visit to Italy, and afterwards the brief question and answer session. So to begin our presentation, I'd like to give you a better idea of who we are and what you can expect from the foremost small group escorted journeys at Insight Vacations. We'd like to think that our brand promise says it all. All of the sights in the insights, up close and personal, in comfort and in style. We're the only operator in North America that sits in the premium service category, and we'd love to show you the art of traveling in style. Insight Vacations is part of a larger organization called the Travel Corporation. It's a family-owned organization and passionately run for now more than 100 years. And we've sent nearly 2 million guests all around the world with us across our award-winning brands. Insight Vacations enjoys an above-average repeat traveler rate, and the reason why we do is really our word of mouth. Our guests are our very best advocates, and we've been honored with FIFO's Platinum Service Trusted Award, their highest accolade, and that requires an average of at least 4.6 out of 5 stars. And for us, it was based over 11,000 independent verified reviews from Insight past travelers. At Insight Vacations, we believe magic isn't imaginary, just very well planned, and our Insight experiences just may very well be the secret sauce. We have more than 100 unique Insight journeys experiences that cannot be booked with anyone else, and we connect our guests with the local people to bring each destination to life. We consistently include the most desired sightseeing in the upfront price of the trip, so there's no need to pay more for access. We're most excited to introduce our brand new Make Travel Matter experiences, which reflect the deep-rooted passion for ensuring that our travels make a real difference when we travel and visit communities around the world as a force for good. We know today's travelers want to make a positive impact when they go on vacation, and our Make Travel Matter experiences highlight more than 11 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, supporting brilliant initiatives that touch people, wildlife, and our planet. On the trip today, we're going to talk about an experience that we can have in Venice, and that's a part of our journey. We're going to witness the ancient skills of glass blowing, now practiced by precious few masters, and watch as the artisans take us through their delicate work of traditional practice. And this particular experience ties into the sustainable goal number 11, which focuses on sustainable cities and communities. The workshop's master craftsmen teach visitors about the traditional craft of glassblowing and its history, which dates back to the 15th century. And every visit helps to support the workshop and the survival of this traditional craft. Insight Vacations is about a few hallmarks, but the first one we're going to talk about is our deliciously authentic dining. Great food is at the heart of every journey, and we believe that dining is an experience rather than just fuel to keep your body moving. More than 90% of our included dinners are in local restaurants, unlike other operators who average maybe more than half of their dinners inside a hotel. Our dining range includes small group dine-around experiences, cooking demonstrations, as you're seeing here with Nona, farm-to-table dining, as well as dine-at-home meals to truly taste the authentic cuisine of the local regions. Insight Vacations is also about something that's really quite magical, the small group camaraderie that comes with our journeys. Our groups have fewer guests than other operators, with the classic series at a maximum of 40 travelers and an average of 33, and our small group series with a maximum of 24 guests, an average of 17. Our guests enjoy more dedicated, personalized service, especially from their travel directors like Shona, and the dining at restaurants that cannot accommodate larger groups. Another innovation for 2021 is something that we've had because of the demand from our travel advisors, very much like Danny, who've asked for small private groups. So these are individual takeover groups of some of our scheduled journeys, and for as few as 12 people. So think about your travel bubble of friends and family that you'd like to explore Italy with. You can have your very own trip. At Insight Vacations, we not only travel, but we stay in style. And we're the only operator offering uniquely customized 40-seat coaches, featuring twice the legroom and twice the view. Not only does this provide more guest comfort, but of course, as you travel through the different regions, it offers a panoramic view of the landscapes that you travel through and a real connection to the communities that you visit. Getting on and off the coach is a breeze, and fewer guests and more space than other operators means that it takes mere minutes to disembark. Not only do we travel by coach, but we also like to explore with the various modes of transport from the region. And in this case, we're looking at Switzerland's most scenic Glacier Express, and everything from this to the wondrous feluccas down Egypt's Nile River. Our guests stay in handpicked premium 4- and 5-star hotels in the very best locations, with restaurants and cultural attractions at the doorstep. And what you're looking at here is one of my favorite hotels in the whole world. It's the Hotel Dengloteo in Geneva. It's one of our acclaimed sister brand hotels, the Red Carnation Hotels. We believe that the comprehensive well-being approach is the very best way that we can show you our support. And the health and well-being of our guests and team have always been and always will be our top priority, especially in today's world where we're living in a pandemic and world very soon to be post-pandemic. Our comprehensive approach has been very carefully designed so that when the time is right, you can book with confidence and peace of mind and can relax and enjoy all through your journey while knowing that people like Shona are handling all of the details. This includes our passenger pre-departure well-being health declarations, the stringent on-the-road protocols, or even smaller group sizes to allow for more personal space. Now, you may be wondering what our journeys will look like when it's time to travel again, and I'm here to talk to you about that. We offer an always-on support team, and that's a 24/7 team, which will always include one of our award-winning travel directors like Shona, but you can trust in your Insight Travel Director to look after you completely all the way through your adventure. They're expertly trained, enthusiastic, and experienced, as you'll soon see, and your travel director can personalize your journey with recommendations for your free time. while also making sure that everything has been scheduled is hassle-free. They are your friends overseas, passionate and knowledgeable, expertly trained masters of logistics, and fluent in the local language. The other thing that we've incorporated in our journeys this year are the Wellbeing Director. And the Wellbeing Director is a brand new innovation for travel and really for any small group journey worldwide. It's our proactive approach to your welfare. The Wellbeing Director dedicates their attention to the most current hygiene and physical distancing protocols throughout the trip and are up to date with the latest regulations from the World Health Organization and the World Travel and Tourism Council. We've actually sat with these councils and we've actually designed these specific protocols, which are now being followed by most other tour operators around the world. Our Wellbeing Director are always available to overcome any concerns that you have while you're on your journey, and they will support the travel director and the driver in every way to make sure that your experience is seamless, comfortable, and free of worry. I hope that you've enjoyed our overview of the Insight Vacations experience and offering, and today we're going to sit and chat about the country roads of northern Italy. Danny's asked us to speak a little bit more about this particular journey. And the reason why is because it's a special journey. Not only does it cover the northern part of Italy, which of course is a little bit different from southern Italy, and again, Shona will speak about that, but it ties in very nicely to our sister brands offering of Venice and the gems of northern Italy. And this is Uniworld, and Uniworld, as I said, is our sister brand. And I understand that Federico Berardinici actually spoke about Venice and the gems of northern Italy and Uniworld in a previous presentation, which can be found on the presentation website. Without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Shona, who will surely regale us about everything that we'd like to see and hear and feel and be a part of in northern Italy. So over to you, please, Shona.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm talking to you from Old Scotia, where it's actually snowing. So we're being a bit empathetic with Canada because I understand you have a lot of snow and we get very excited still because we don't get it that often. So it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us along. And it's lovely to be talking about Italy because you don't always think of snow when you think of Italy, you think of the sun. And this is actually a brilliant itinerary. It's one of my favorites because you're visiting places that are gorgeous, that are super interesting, that are super varied, but are not on the beaten track. So apart from Milan, you really are going to be off the beaten track. You're going to be going to really nice little places that you know, are not frequented by many people. For example, Trento, which we'll come to in a minute. It's a wonderful itinerary. It's a lovely pace. It's not go, go, go all the time. We've got our lovely relaxed starts where you have permission to slap me if I make you leave the hotel before 9 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning. So you have time for a nice lie-in to enjoy breakfast and look at lovely views. We have, you know, it's just wonderful. It's a great itinerary, and it starts in Milan. Now, do I need to flick the slides?
I can do it for you.
Okay, because I'm not very good at technology. I usually point out the window and that's it. So you arrive in Milan, and we have a nice little orientation walk in Milano, and we'll show you the facade of the Duomo, the cathedral, which, do you know, they started it in 1386, and you'll never guess when they finished it, 1965. So, you know, because the Italians have to have a lot of lunch breaks. But you'll see the facade of the cathedral, we'll see the main site, the La Scala Opera House, the beautiful Galleria, and we have a wonderful welcome dinner, and then overnight Milan, and next day we head off to Verona. We're heading for Trento. We stop in Verona, and I know that Danny and Debbie have been to Verona. It's a gorgeous city. It's really, really beautiful. We have now what's called Insight Choice. So when we get to Verona, you can choose whether you want to do a walking tour, and Verona is flat, so it's great for walking. There's no hills and not many cobbles. So you can choose to go on a walking tour of the beautiful piazzas and the historical buildings and see Dante's statue and the tombs of the ruling families of Verona, or you could do the Shakespearean themed walking tour, which would involve seeing this poor unfortunate girl. This is Juliet. And you go into the courtyard of Juliet's house and you see her balcony, and it's good luck. The reason you can see that certain part of Juliet there is rather shiny is because it's good luck to touch her boobs, and then you get to come back to Verona. So, but she has the expression, doesn't she, Danny? She's got an expression of, oh, again. She's not very happy. Poor old Juliet.
Calling me.
And Shona, sorry, this is Debbie, isn't it, Danny? This is
Yeah,
your
there's
wife.
Debbie.
We enjoyed this, but it was packed when we were there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was rare to get a picture with only a couple other people there. But yeah, that's the bronze statue of Juliet. You can see where it is being rubbed most often because it's shiny there. Interesting to point out too that this is completely manufactured. Romeo and Juliet, being a product of Shakespeare's imagination, but it really was quite something to experience this. The other thing about Verona was, you're right, it was flat, but I remember us walking past a section of the main street that actually had a Roman ruins dug down into the bottom of this in the main
street, just past Juliet's house, actually. Yeah, because the balcony that we had a picture of a moment ago is actually a Roman sarcophagus, because in the 19th century they realized that people wanted to find a balcony for Juliet. They didn't have one, so they stuck a Roman sarcophagus on the wall of the building. Wow. There you go. You want a balcony? There's a balcony. But it's nice. It's nice to see. And you have free time for lunch in Verona, and there's some gorgeous places to eat. You'll have experienced that. That's actually, this photograph is taken in Piazza delle Erbe, which is on top of the Roman Forum. So it's above the old Roman Forum of Verona, and it's got a market in the center where you can buy sandwiches or souvenirs, and it's surrounded by little cafes and bars where you can get a really nice lunch for very little money and watch all the comings and goings. It's brilliant, really good fun. So we leave Verona back on our gorgeous coach, and off we go, and we head to Trento. Now, most people have probably never heard of Trento, and this is a good thing because it means it's not busy. So we go in, it's a gorgeous city, it's one of the best universities in Italy. It's a very historical city, it has a beautiful medieval and Renaissance centre. It's famous for the Council of Trent, which in the 16th century, it's where the Counter-Reformation started. It has the most gorgeous buildings, beautiful churches. You can see a piece of the Duomo there. You have some beautiful painted, they actually restored this city centre with the original pastel colours of the medieval city. So I think there's a slide coming up where you can see a beautiful painted, the facade of a building. That's the town hall. Then in a minute, there should be one, that's the Duomo. So you've seen the Duomo just means cathedral. It doesn't mean dome, it just means the seat of a bishop. And it's very important, there it is again, and a little fountain of Neptune in front of it. It's just the most exquisite city, I love it. There we go, you see, with the frescoes painted on the front of the building. And then there's a beautiful, it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's very kind of, this part of Italy belonged to Austria until 1919. So in the treaty that finished the First World War, it was handed over to Italy. So when you go to Trento, you kind of have a feeling that you could be in Austria because it's a very well organized Italy, which is not normal. It's not generally very well organized. And you get schnitzel, you get great schnitzel in Trento. There you go, you see the beautiful pastel colors of the buildings in the market square. It's just the loveliest place and very relaxing. It's gorgeous. And the hotel there is magnificent. It's a short walk into the center. So we stay overnight in Trento, and then we head off the next day. And this is when you'll be so glad for our big panoramic windows and all the space, because we start going uphill all the way. We stop in the city of Bolzano, and we have free time there for lunch. And you start to hear, even if you're not familiar with Italian accents, you start to hear change in the accent, and people sound like they're Austrian. They speak, even though they've been Italian for more than 100 years, they still speak with a very Austrian accent. We stop in Bolzano, and then we head up to Cortina d'Ampezzo. Now, you'll see this Cortina in a minute, but one of the things we can do, we have 2 nights in Cortina. It is it's like something out of a movie. You expect Heidi to come skipping out of the hills any second, it's so pretty. And we go for an excursion through the Dolomite Mountains, which are spectacular. And one of the things we do is go in a cable car, up to the top of this mountain called Lagadzoi, which is over 9,000 feet high. And these are some photographs taken. It was roasting on the bottom of the mountain. We got off the coach and I'm saying to everybody, please, please, please take a jacket. They're going, you're kidding, it's so hot. We got up to the top and the snow was so deep. It's brilliant. You really feel like you're on top of the world. And you see, have you ever heard of marmots? Joe, marmots? The big marmots running around all over the place up there. They're very bold at the top of the mountain because they're used to people coming up. But it's just the most fantastic thing to do. It's fun. And it's also, if you're interested in First World War, this was the Dolomite campaign. The campaign in this part of Italy was every bit as bad as the Western Front, but not as well known. So, for example, there's an incident that happened here called it was called White Friday, when the generals ordered an artillery barrage after a heavy snowfall. So, of course, what's going to happen? Avalanche, and 10,000 soldiers were wiped out like that in the avalanche. And the men were ill prepared for the fighting. They didn't have warm equipment. They didn't have the proper shoes. So every year, still to this day, they still find bodies of soldiers in the First World War in the Dolomite Mountains. It's incredible. It's incredible, really incredible. And one of the other things from that area, this is now Cortina, and it's the most exquisite little town. But there's a little shop in Cortina that has this wonderful display from the First World War, because you also had this very interesting situation in Cortina where the men of Cortina, the men of this area, were fighting for the Austro-Hungarian army until Italy switched sides in 1915. And then they were fighting with the Austrians until 1915. Then they were fighting against the Austrians. And then in 1919, they became Italian. So the Austrians they'd been fighting against were now their neighbours. So it's a very complicated, but it's so interesting. It's so interesting. So you'll learn a lot about that as well. And Cortina is very chic, very jet set, darling. It's marvellous. All the Porsches and everything driving around. They hosted the Winter Olympics in 1956, and they're hosting them again in 2026, along with Milan. So there's a big buzz about that just now, and it's all the people walking about the skis, even if it's hot, because that's what you've got to do. It's very trendy, but it's a fabulous place. So you have 2 wonderful nights here. Then we go on to Venice via my personal favourite thing ever, and I'm very worried that Brexit could actually affect my personal supply of Prosecco. Because Prosecco comes from the Veneto, it comes from this area of Italy, real Prosecco. Now, lots of people say it is, but the real Prosecco comes from the Veneto, which is the region that Venice is located in. And we go to this wonderful, wonderful district called Conegliano, and we go to Carmina, which is a beautiful vineyard, and they'll take you in, family run, and they'll explain the difference between Prosecco and Champagne. Never call Prosecco Champagne, or very upset. They'll tell you all about it. They'll show you how to make a Bellini, which is the cocktail very famous from Venice. And they set out, it's the most gorgeous place. And you've just got, really, I keep saying this, but it's true. You feel like you're in a movie, It's just wonderful. And you sit down, you get shown all the insight, how they make the Prosecco, how the fermentation process happens. Then we sit down to the key element, which is the tasting. And you can never have, look at that, look at all those little vines working hard. Fantastic. To produce our favourite drink. And there we are, all sitting down. You get presented with the Prosecco, you have the Bellini, and then you always have something. Whenever Italians are going to have, especially in the north, whenever you have a Prosecco, an aperitivo before dinner, you'll have snacks with it. One of my Italian friends says that's because if you're going on a date with someone, you don't want to spend dinner, so you'll take them for a drink and have a few snacks, so you're not hungry. If the date doesn't work out, you're still eating something. It hasn't cost you too much. So they say that the Milanese, the people from Milan, are a bit, tight with their money, like we're supposed to be, but that's not true. So you get these wonderful snacks. So you get prosciutto, you get your cheese, you've got beautiful tomatoes, bread, lovely, and you just sit back, enjoy the Prosecco, enjoy the food, absolutely as the Italians do, looking at this gorgeous view. It's just, I want to pack my suitcase now and go. There you go, there's another lovely view of because it's a family place. This is where they live, as well as where they make their beautiful Proseccos. So then once we've had a few Prosecco, we're off to Venice. And I know that this is you said you had a week there. Venice is one of my absolute favorite places. And people always say such and such is like Venice. There's nothing like Venice. Venice is like Venice, that's it. And where we stay is in a hotel called Residenza Canareggio. Canareggio is my absolute favorite part of Venice. It's probably the last part, which is completely residential. It's not, there's only one historical attraction in Canareggio, which is the Jewish Ghetto, which is an amazing place. And usually my colleagues and I will take you for a little walk there because it's very, very close to the hotel. But if you don't know where it is, you'll never find it, you know. So we'll take you there, and it's just the most atmospheric place. First, it's where the name Ghetto actually comes from. But that's all that's there. So tourists, it's just a little too difficult to find if you don't know where it is. So once you've been there, you're experiencing a real Venetian neighborhood. You know, it's just unbelievable. And at night, you can see the bank of the canal there. And because there's not so much room for tables, people just sit in the boats that are tied up. Even if it's not their boat, it doesn't matter. They just get in with their Aperol Spritz and just have a little drink. And if someone comes to move the boats, you have to get out and find another boat to sit in. But it's just wonderful. And one of the things that we do in Venice, which is something I miss so much because I haven't done it for a year, is something we call Magical Venice, where we have private water taxis. This is one of our excursions. Will come and meet us, and we cruise the Grand Canal at sunset. And we see the beautiful palazzos. And look, I mean, this is just, it's indescribable. It literally, I've done it so many times and I still got excited at the prospect, because the canals, the houses and palaces on the Grand Canal were built to be seen from the water. Yes. Not from there's the roads at the back of them, but you see nothing. They're built beautiful Murano glass chandeliers, beautiful big windows, you know, absolutely as grand and as ostentatious as you like, but you will never see it if you don't see it from the canal. And it's just a wonderful thing. This is Canareggio. This is actually very close to where the hotel is that we stay, and it's just, look at it, it's just peaceful. And this was in, you know, when it was packed, when Venice was so busy at certain points that you couldn't get a piece of paper between people. And that's why my colleagues and I, we all live in Italy. That's where I live in the season. We know it, we speak the language. We can take you away from the busy parts and show you the real parts. So you're not walking about, you know, following a billion other people. We're taking you to real Venice. And one of our highlights, and I just love this, is a gondola ride, included gondola ride. You can't come to Venice and not go on a gondola. It's forbidden. And the gondoliers, you know, are very, very glamorous. And they'll take you, they make sure all the gondolas keep together. And one of the gondolas will have music. So you're cruising along the canals as the Venetians have done for centuries, looking at these beautiful palaces, listening to music. Doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better. And one of the things that my colleagues and I can do, we have budget for little treats. And one of the things we like to do is after the gondola ride is take you for an Aperol Spritz and a Venetian tramezzino, which is the best sandwich you will ever eat in your life. Amazing. In a local bar where all the gondoliers go for their, that's what to do in Venice. If you're looking for somewhere to eat, follow a gondolier. They like to eat well and they don't like to pay much. And this is again from the Grand Canal. This is in fact the Palazzo, the Bar Palazzo, where we stay on our luxury gold ultimately. So it's absolutely exquisite. Venice is so, sometimes people say, you know, it was so busy, but those people didn't go with the travel director. That's why they found it busy. You go with us and we'll take you away from, we don't want you to be squished and not enjoy it. We want you to really understand what it's like to be in Venice. These are some of my guests on the cruise on the Grand Canal, smiling happily. Oh, I want to go. It's fabulous. And this is one of the symbols of Venice here. This is a church called Santa Maria della Salute, which is just where the Grand Canal, and on the other side of that building is the Giudecca Canal, and they converge at that point there. So it's one of the iconic buildings of Venice. Oh, and there's Debbie.
And such a magnificent view. The buildings in the background as well.
Yeah.
Oh, iconic Venice there.
Yeah.
You know, we loved it too. We were able to spend about probably 5 days there, and
Oh, it's fabulous, isn't it? You get so relaxed when you're in Venice.
yeah.
People expect you're not going to be, but you get so chilled because there's no traffic, no noise.
Well,
And isn't
that's
the lighting
this.
so magical? The light is always so beautiful. It doesn't
Isn't
matter if it's
it?
in the
Is
early
it?
morning or in the sunset or, oh, just beautiful.
These pictures were taken from our river cruise with Uniworld.
Ah,
So it was delightful. I mean, it's way up there in the top of the trips we've taken.
it's one of my favourite places. That's San Giorgio Maggiore in the background, which was a church, is now deconsecrated, is now an arts venue in the back, a separate little island. But it's beautiful. Here we go on the gondola again. Oh, it's so lovely. And that's, as I say, an included thing that everybody loves. And we go out to Burano, one of our excursions, which is one of the islands out in the lagoon and famous for its very colourful buildings and its fabulous seafood. If you like any kind of seafood, which you probably do from Nova Scotia, it's brilliant. This is my attempt at a selfie, not good. I was trying to get myself and some of my guests in, and it didn't quite work out as anticipated. I forgot I'd included that picture.
I'm keeping this.
But you know, the fun thing about it is it doesn't matter how reserved someone can be. You put people on a water taxi on the Grand Canal in Venice and everyone becomes like a silly kid. You know, we're all laughing and joking, waving to each other and taking pictures of each other. It's just the best fun. It's brilliant. They all look a bit alarmed though that they're stuck with me in that picture. And there's some more of my happy campers. That's a musician there. Looks like he's ready to jump overboard, but he was actually picking up his accordion with the beige trousers. It's just wonderful. And this is after we've done our cruise, we go into St. Mark's Square and we sit at one of the famous cafes where they have the orchestra playing, and you have a drink, an Aperol Spritz or a Bellini or whatever it might be, and sit back and listen to the orchestra with the beauty. See the street lamps there are all Murano glass from 1900, so they're all over 100 years old. And that's the Doge's Palace in the background, just on the corner. Oh, it's so lovely. It really is magical. And that's just to bring us back to the Prosecco, to show you a little alternative. This is a Venetian Aperol Spritz, which has become very popular, I think, internationally now, but it's a Venetian drink. And I can show you where you can still get a Spritz for €3. Yes, yes. Follow me. I'll show you the right places to get food and drink. Then when we leave Venice, we head towards Como, and we're going to go first to Cirmione. And Cirmione is just a little gem. It's on Lake Garda, which is the biggest of the Italian lakes. It's a tiny little medieval town, basically, and you can just see in this picture a little bridge, and that's literally the drawbridge from the castle, which is 13th century. It came under Venetian control, and it was built by the Venetian family, and that is literally, that's where the drawbridge was to go into the, you can see the arrows, you can see the two big slits there where the ropes for the drawbridge were to bring it back up. And it's now a solid bridge, but you cross over the drawbridge and you're inside the walled town of Cirmione. It's just exquisite. You have to walk along from the coach park to it, and we cross over into the city, and it's like stepping back in time. It's just perfect. It's so beautiful. It has attracted a lot of very famous people over the centuries. James Joyce was there, Ezra Pound was there, Maria Callas, the opera singer. She had a villa there. She spent a lot of time in Cirmione. In the 1st century before Christ, it was the place to go if you were a rich Roman from Verona. If you had money, you would go to Cirmione for your holidays because it wasn't too far away, and it was lovely and relaxing. You see, just as in Venice, you'll find these wells. This structure you see in the middle there is a well. So each little square has a well for people to go and get fresh water. Nowadays, it's got lots of beautiful, very unique little craft shops, local people making particularly wooden items, hand-carved wooden items, and you have wonderful cafes around. You can get really beautiful little meals, and so it's like one long main street with lots of little streets going off, and every little street ends up here on the lake because it's a very long, it's on a little kind of spit of land, if you like. It's very, very tiny, and no matter where you look, you'll come to the lake. So you can always find a place to eat with a view. There you go, that's on the other side. It's just beautiful. It's very, very unique and very small and very, it has never been touched. If you dropped somebody into Cirmione who was born there in the 1500s, they wouldn't notice very much of a difference.
Really?
So, it's almost the same, just a few more restaurants and free Wi-Fi, I suppose. There's my guests enjoying a nice aperitivo before we get back on our lovely coach and head off to Como. There we are. See, look, you're looking, where that photograph is taken from is right beside the lake on one side, and if you look to the other end of the street, you can see the lake on the far side. So that's the width of the town, very narrow. And then we go to one of my favourite places, but I have to report, in all the times I've been to Como, I have yet to find George Clooney. Escape my attentions. And this is the view from our hotel in Como. So it's right on this main square, looking on the lake itself. It's the third of the lakes of the north. Garda is the biggest, Maggiore is the second, and Como is the third. We can go on a cruise on the lake. You see these absolutely stunning villas. Most of them would be 1700s, 1800s, some 1900s. The villas, absolutely exquisite. It's the most gorgeous, probably the most glamorous. This is a very interesting, you see it from everywhere. You have a great view from our hotel. This is called Life Electric, and it was put there in 2015, and it's a monument to Alessandro Volta, who invented the electric battery. That's why we count the volts, V-O-L-T-A, Alessandro Volta, and he was from Como. So this dominates the sort of, seafront or the lakefront in the town, and it's just another one of these beautiful villas. This one was up for sale recently. I think it was 143 million. Yeah, we put together. We'll buy it for
euros, of course.
Euros, yeah.
Pocket change.
No. Oh yeah, exactly. Pocket change. So we have an overnight, and our hotel is, as you can see, right in the center. You literally go around the corner, and there is the ancient city hall of Como. The cathedral is right next to it. Everything is there. It's just fabulous, and again, very. It's all pedestrianised. Most of these towns are pedestrianised in the centre, so you don't even have to worry about traffic or anything. You can sit down, enjoy your dinner, your drink without any problem. And then we go to Lake Maggiore, which is actually my favourite. This is my favourite of the lakes. It's just, I think it's because the hotel we stay in is so fabulous, maybe, and it's so beautiful because it's a much wider lake. Lake Como and Lake Garda tend to be quite narrow. Lake Maggiore is much wider. Maximum width is 10 kilometres. And I think the next picture, yeah, there we go. That was taken, my last trip that I did, from the terrace of the hotel. Just that was in the morning. I was actually up early, but it was winter time, so it wasn't that early. And then we'll take you for a little orientation walk. And this is the church in Baveno, the little town that we stay in. And this church is San Gervasio and Protasio, and it's built around the 1100s. And it has a gorgeous little cloister. This was a sunset from the same viewpoint. Isn't that gorgeous? Just beautiful.
Stunning.
And that's
just beautiful.
The hotel is in the most fabulous spot, really gorgeous. Right there the town is very, very small. It's just about 2,000 people living in it. But the hotel's right on the shore. This is the Grand Hotel Dino, one of the two properties. The Simplon is connected to it. They're literally side by side. This is just the hotel to end all hotels. I love it. It's just fantastic. And these are some of my guests sitting on the terrace after we'd had a little farewell drink together. And it's great. Look, the view's fantastic. Because we do a little farewell drink, a little thank you to everybody for traveling with us. We have included dinners in restaurants. In Como, we have this wonderful thing called Dine Around, and that's where your travel director will give you sample menus for 3 different restaurants, and you can choose which one you would like to go to and which time you would like to go. We'll make the reservations, take you along, and you don't do anything. We pay the bill, and it's fine. You just sit there, and you can dine then maybe as a couple, or maybe with, no, you can't go crazy, but sometimes you've met some friends you've got on particularly well with, you'd like to have a dinner just with the 4 or the 6 of you, so we can arrange that for you, and you can go and have a nice kind of more intimate experience. we have as our farewell dinner from Maggiore a beautiful farm to table experience, where we go into this beautiful little countryside restaurant, and everything that we eat has been prepared and made from their own produce. It's just wonderful, because Maggiore is the last stop on the trip. And this is the bar in the Dino. If you like cocktails, and I know that, you know, quite often in Europe we're not big on cocktails, in Italy particularly they're not, and so often guests will say, oh, I really would like a, you know, a martini or Manhattan or whatever. This is the bar to fulfill all your cocktail dreams. It's brilliant. And that's Tommy, the barman here. He's fantastic. So we have our little farewell drink there. So it's wonderful. It's great. A fabulous hotel. And then we have our little snacks out. You can't have a dry drink in Italy. You have to always have something to eat with it. Too wet without something. And so we have a little Club Bon Voyage, we call it, a farewell drink together usually before we go for our dinner. And then while we're in Maggiore, you have a whole day free. And I think you've been here, haven't you, Danny, to the Isla Bella, to the palace?
Yeah, and at that hotel, beautiful hotel.
Isn't it gorgeous? It's very old. It's very, it reminds me almost of a bygone age. Yeah. It's very elegant, isn't it? Very elegant. Everything's just proper. The service is very discreet, but very, very good. It's super comfortable. It's just lovely. Lovely. And we go across to the island Isla Bella, which was a big rocky crag until the 17th century, when the Borromeo family built a palace on it, and it takes up most of the island. The palace is exquisite, just gorgeous. This is some of my guests on the boat. This is the famous garden, the terrace gardens of the Isla Bella, with the white peacocks. Did you see the peacocks? Aren't they gorgeous?
Yeah, it was a rainy day when we visited, but I braved the rain and went out, and the peacocks were magnificent. They were still displaying, so yeah, it was really.
They really have a good sense of theatre, those peacocks. As soon as they see people come up the stairs, they open it. It's like, okay, here we go. We better put a show on for these people. But they're quite amazing. They're just lovely.
Oh, isn't that an Insight particular that they put on the show for Insight?
Yes, yeah. Of course. I forgot to mention that. They don't do it for anybody else. They just do it for us.
That's our included Insight experience.
The white peacock. That's just a view of the palace. And it's still the Borromeo's home. It's still, when the palace is open to the public, they stay on the top 2 floors when it's open, and it closes around October and opens again usually around the beginning of April. And over the winter months, they use the whole thing, the whole palace. So, and that's when the peacocks see us coming. They say, oh, here's the Insight group, quick. Well, that's in the garden as well. But this was all built from solid rock. There was nothing there. Every single blade of grass, every single piece of earth had to be brought in to the island. It was literally a big lump of rock in the middle of the lake. But then at the end of the trip, we have our farewell dinner. This is actually a picture from Venice, from a group. But one of the best things, our job as travel directors, is to give you information, to make sure that you have all the tools you need to enjoy yourself, to make sure you get from A to B safely, to take care of all the logistics, the luggage, the rooms, everything. Basically, all you have to do when you travel with us is have fun. Everything else is my job to do. And one of the best things as travel directors is when you start a trip with people and people are strangers, and you finish on the last night and look at the smiling faces. Everybody finishes as friends.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that's a job well done. You've had experiences, you've seen things you wouldn't have seen on your own. Because you don't have to worry about logistics, you can concentrate on having fun, making friends and making memories. And I really hope I get the chance to make some memories with you on country roads of Northern Italy. I'd love it. It'd be great. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Shona. Just a couple of comments. You opened up the presentation with a slide of glass blowing, and we have a company called Nova Scotia Crystal here in Halifax, and we just received word that they were closing down. And there aren't very many crystal glass blowing places in North America, so it's devastating for people here. Yeah, and one thing that I made note of when I was staying in Milan, we spent a fair bit of time there. The cemetery was just magnificent. I think cemetery you think of, negative things, sort of death and all that sort of thing. But as a place to appreciate art, bronze statues, marble, carved marble, it just blew me away. We spent about 3/4 of a day just wandering around there, and every minute was just priceless. So something certainly for people to keep an eye on when they visit Milan.
Definitely.
I want to thank you both very much. Shona, your presentation was enthusiastic, and I think I was chuckling and laughing all the way through it. I saw Ben was doing the same thing. So
much fun.
yes, oh, absolutely.
I can't wait.
Well, and for you to be, what time is it now? Nearly 7:30. So that's 11:30. Yeah, very late. Thank you very much for your
I can have a lion tomorrow as a treat then.
And Brad, of course, thank you as well for hosting this, and Julia in the background, of course, as well. This is going to make a wonderful recording to put on the CARP travel website.
With pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So next week, folks, at the same time, 6:30 on Tuesdays. That's every Tuesday at 6:30 Atlantic time. Please join me for a presentation on an Avalon Rhine river cruise with the Passion Play. And I'll get this wrong, I'm sure. Oberammergau. I think
that's exactly it. Oberammergau, you got it.
Thank you. Say it 3 times. I wouldn't. With Jennifer Zammit, who is the Business Development Manager, Atlantic Canada and Southwestern Ontario. This wonderful river cruise is paired with the Passion Play and is only offered once every 10 years. So good idea if you're interested in it to start making reservations there. So again, Brad and Shona and Julia, thank you very much for the time you've taken to prepare this and present it to our viewers.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay.